podcast called Jellison Podcast.
He probably doesn't remember this at all.
Yeah, report together. It's easy.
This is kind of real. Like, holy shit.
And so it's really cool to get to be a part of that.
Hey, you know how it is, though. Hey, when
you now tune into the biggest ever.
We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over.
I don't remember that. That's crazy.
What's up, everyone? We're back with episode 149 of the Jellison Podcast. And today, a very special guest returning for the second time, Gary Forbes. Gary, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me again, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. You know, I had to, and I was just looking back at our first one after this kind of came together. It was actually episode 49. So you come on 100 episodes later, it just worked out like that.
That's great, man. That's great, man. I'm happy for that you're still going, man. Still doing this. It shows like a lot of passion and determination that you really want to do this, and definitely happy for you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we were kind of talking a little bit before we hopped on here. You're working on the book, obviously, and then you got some other projects going on. So talk a little bit about those and what you got going on in your life right now.
Well, the book, which is my main passion right now, obviously, since I've retired from playing basketball. It's a book about, just children, like superhero children, like kind of like a X-Men, Harry Potter kind of vibe, where children with illnesses like myself and you and many other different types of illnesses have superpowers. It's kind of like almost the same thing as X-Men. They were kind of viewed as mutants, but in a real life kind of sense, due to the fact that so many people I feel like are ignorant in a way, like where they just don't know, how to deal with, people with autism or people with diabetes or people with cancer. And they just look at it as a kind of a death sentence. And, I'm kind of a living testament that it's not, you kind of got to, search and look for ways to live, this life with it. And, there's so many different people that have had success stories. And I just want to embark on that and kind of like, just put more emphasis on the positive of it than more so the negative. Everyone knows the negatives and kind of the fears of it. And there's just so much more to being a diabetic, probably so much more to being an autistic person or someone with cancer. And, I want to give these people a voice and a face with these, cartoon characters that I've created and this book series that I've created.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, especially people that are on the spectrum or diabetics like us, I mean, those little kids, they don't know anyone else who has it or whatever. I mean, they look at these superheroes and that's going to be their hero for their entire childhood. So that's super special. I mean, what kind of caused you to just have this idea of creating that?
Well, it's crazy. It's like I was going through like a little, just like a little gap in my life where, right after like basketball was coming towards an end, I kind of saw it just due to like the injuries and just the way basketball was going. I understand that, people want to see, what you've done lately and kind of things like that. And just the market in basketball wasn't great. And I knew I wanted a, just an exit plan kind of. And I could have done the normal, be a coach and kind of things like that. But I felt like just my story and my life was something different. And I wanted to leave a legacy behind. And I wanted to, what's crazy is a funny story, like one of my brothers, he was so upset about, even my mother still to this day, they're so upset that I have diabetes. And, I've been through crazy, near death experiences. And, I feel I'm here for a reason. And I feel like, during that time when I was like, kind of like figuring out like, what can I do next with this? Why am I here? What's my purpose? I just, me and my friends were just like talking one day, and I just, thought about, creating a comic series, like a franchise. And, it's been like 3 years now that I've been working on it. And the fact that I feel like basketball has helped me a lot because, obviously I didn't make the NBA my first year coming out of, college, and, just the grind and the work towards it. I feel like it prepared me for this. And, now I have certain meetings set up with, major, networks and, these different companies and things like that. So, and they, they're seeing the vision, and I feel like I'm here for a purpose. The reason, it's 5,000, over like a little bit under 5,000 or around 5,000 people that's played the NBA. And I'm one of 3 that have played with diabetes. So, I know I have a purpose here in my journey on this life. And I feel like, creating this this book series and this comic franchise series, which is called Soul Survivors. I think that's my main purpose why I was here put on this earth, to kind of inspire and motivate and help people. I always hear every time, someone finds out that I'm a diabetic, they say, I don't look like the, normal, typical, diabetic and things like that. And, I just want to remove a lot of the stigma, from it, because, especially as a diabetic, there's no, certain, one-way plan for every diabetic. Every diabetic is different. And, certain things may affect, you versus, it may not affect me the certain way. And I kind of want to get those stories out and kind of educate people, especially in our community, the Black community, my community. There's so many, everyone knows someone with diabetes, or everyone knows someone with cancer, or everyone knows someone with autism. And I feel that, we just have to bridge that gap of, understanding, one another. We're all human. Everyone has some sort of ailments or illness or know someone with it. So I feel like bridging that gap with this comic series or this comic franchise, I feel like was the perfect way to kind of like blend that together.
Yeah, that goes way deeper than us and basketball and all that stuff. Just not understanding each other. I mean, that's probably the biggest issue we got in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can look in damn near every
Right, exactly.
conflict, whatever. We just don't understand each other. So I mean, that's important, and I'm glad that you're kind of shining light to that. Before I forget, what are the 2 others? Adam Morrison, and then who's the other one? Chris Dudley.
Chris Dudley. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't want to forget that. But yeah, I mean, what are your next steps for this though? So, I mean, you're setting up meetings with these networks and things like that. How far would you like to take it?
I see this. Yeah, I honestly see this, and it's messed up to say. I mean, I feel that there is, but I feel like it's messed up to say that there's no cure for any of these, illnesses that people are battling and dealing with right now. Obviously, I'm plant-based now. I'm pretty much, I look into a lot of, holistic healings and, meditation and things like that. And it's obviously, it's worked for me. And I think I want to, kind of just share, just like good energy and love and light with people that are kind of like needing it. And I don't think that, I do feel that this franchise in the book will help people have a different mindset and a different view on having this illness. Not one day in my life as a diabetic, I've had it now 18 years, like almost half my life. Not one time did I ever feel that, like, man, like, damn, I could, possibly die. Even when I was, in a diabetic coma, I kind of like looked at the doctors. My first words were like, yo, like, when do I get out of here so I can go to practice, whatever, next day. And, doctors were kind of looking at me like, bro, you just had a diabetic coma. Like, you need to relax, whatever. So, I feel like just my mindset with having diabetes, I never used it as a crutch. I never wanted people to feel sorry for me. And I feel like that's one thing that diabetics do have a lot of problems with. Like, they want to be looked at as normal. They don't want to be babied, or I'm sure kids that are growing up, they want to feel, normal, or not necessarily normal. They want to be accepted and treated the same way as you would, someone who doesn't have an illness. And I feel it's definitely manageable to live with. Obviously, if you take the right steps to doing that, to manage your illness, the same way with, autism or cancer. I know those are a lot, I'm sure they have their own battles and difficulties and challenges to deal with. But I still feel that, all these cliche sayings, mind over matter. And, if you think you can, you're right, which is one of my, favorite sayings. If you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're right. So it's, I feel that this book and this whole franchise that I'm building, I think it could help and inspire and change so many different people's lives. And even if I help one person, like, I feel like I've done my job here, on this earth as my, I'm doing my journey, with life. But I really do, obviously financially, obviously I want this, book and franchise and, possibly TV show, movies, toys. I want this to be one of the biggest, things in the world. I want to leave my mark, behind. I want my, children, when I do have children, I want them to, come into this life having a, different kind of experience than I had growing up. I'm not saying that mine was bad, but like I want them to, have something in store for them that when they come into this earth, man, it's, kind of like an easy ride for them. Mine wasn't, not saying that mine was at all challenging at all. My parents did a great job, and, they made sure that, I had the opportunities to pursue these things. And, hopefully I can do this for other people, and, they'll take this inspiration and do probably even more great things than I'm doing.
I'm glad you brought this part up about like kids growing up and kind of being ashamed, for lack of a better word. I know a couple of diabetics that like I kind of not really grew up with, but had same classes and stuff. And I know that they were like ashamed of it. And I was too. I grew out of it. I know you didn't have to. It's different because like when I was diagnosed, I was 3. When you were diagnosed, you were what, like 19, 20?
18, 19. Yeah.
Yeah. So, when I was growing up, kids are ruthless as it is. And then you get nurses coming down and giving you shots, and you're testing your blood and clot and all that type of stuff. I can see how kids like take that very, very hard.
Right, and it can have like a lasting effect on a child growing up. When you're hearing something, the wrong thing, or bully, I guess, kind of like talking about something that you have to deal with. And I just want to educate those those kids that don't understand, or seeing a kid taking a needle, in class or wherever. I want to kind of like make, especially with these superheroes or these characters that I'm building, maybe these kids will look at them, as like, hey, I want to hang out with this, diabetic kid because, this superhero is one of my favorite superheroes on TV or whatever. And I feel like, if I can bridge that gap with, with understanding for children, I feel that there's a whole new lane that we can, kind of like, I guess, come together and bridge that gap of understanding for kids with these illnesses.
And something I think about a lot, especially recently with all the crazy times we're in, is, you're not going to create change by like talking to adults, in my opinion. You got to start young, and that's kind of what you're doing. You're going to teach these kids growing up that, we're all the same. I think they all kind of realize that at the end of the day, if you're a sane person, you know what I mean? But realizing that at a young age it's a skill that a lot of people don't have.
Right. And it was crazy as my father, I grew up watching my father inject himself, with insulin every day. And it wasn't until, 19 when I had to do it myself, where I kind of like understood, like, wow, this, it's a real issue. And I was very ignorant, growing up. Like, I didn't necessarily understand it because my father took care of himself. He was a great diabetic. He exercised, worked out, ate the right things. But obviously, times change, and, the foods definitely change. One of the toughest things I had to do, especially when I was playing overseas, my insulin intake when I was overseas I had to change because, I've had diabetic comas when I was overseas, just taking just too much insulin. Obviously the foods are different overseas. They don't, cook with the same type of, oils or steroids or, MSG, all those things that we do over here in the United States. So, that was a learning curve for me. And, I feel like there's so many different diabetics that, have these learning curve issues and problems, and they don't, have that person to talk to. I'm sure, like, I know as a diabetic, I necessarily didn't want to talk to my father about it because I wanted to kind of, figure it out on my own. This is my journey. This is my life. Granted, he probably did know the best way for him to live as a diabetic, but for me, it may be different. Certain things affect me differently. I may not need the same amount of rest that he does, or joking around or going outside may, raise my blood sugar or lower my blood sugar. So it's like, there's so many different ways to treat these illnesses. And, like, I want to just bring so much stories and light to it. And, hopefully one of these days, man, we'll find a cure for all these illnesses and everybody will be, the same.
I think about that a lot. I did. I thought about it damn near every day when I was little.
Right.
I'm like, when are we gonna cure this? But now I'm like, I don't know. Like you and me can change only so much, but
right.
I mean, we just gotta live.
I feel like it's gonna take everybody's, everyone's, their stories and their own journeys to, kind of, I guess, just share with everyone. I feel like sharing everyone's story and finding out different ways to implement and live with these illnesses, I feel will help so many different people. I'm sure there's, autistic children that, can help others. There's so many diabetic children that can help others, kids with cancer that can help others. And I feel that once we feel that we have that power and, we're not looked at as less than, or we're not looked at as like a fear of death or things like that, I feel that, having that power, having that inspiration, I feel like will give these kids and everyone, even adults with these illnesses, like, a sense of confidence with it. Because I like right now as a diabetic, I don't have no fear of, going out. I do kind of, know what to eat and things like that. Granted, there's some days when my blood sugar is, low or high and I'm just like, like confused or whatever. But, I definitely don't have that same kind of that I guess that fear of having diabetes when the doctors first told me. I remember when the doctors first came into the office when I was at University of Virginia, they were almost kind of like saying like kind of like basketball was over kind of things. Like I was like I kind of didn't I didn't believe what they said. I kind of like just took my own understanding for it. But yeah, man.
What day were you diagnosed? Like what?
I was after my freshman year at UVA. So that was 2004. It was during the summer. I want to say it was somewhere around like July, June, July. I lost like 20 pounds in 1 week. Just kept, had the normal symptoms of just using the bathroom. As soon as I drank like a bottle of water, I had to go to the bathroom. Or as soon as I ate, and I was like 224, 225 at the time. And next thing you know, I'm like 200 pounds in a week. And I was just like, all right, something's wrong. Definitely something's wrong. And I just felt that was, my body just felt so dry and tight. Like I was just always thirsty, dehydrated. But, the doctors at Virginia did a great job. Obviously, at the time, my biggest fear was needles. I didn't like my first day. I missed class. I missed my first. I missed class. My first day at school, my sophomore year, because I didn't want to take the insulin before class. I literally sat there with the syringe. Obviously, it's different now. We have pens and stuff like that. I literally sat with the syringe on my desk, like crying, like, nah, I don't want to take this. It has to be another way. It has to be a pill that I can take, man. Like, there's no way I'm taking this needle. And it took me like a good 2-3 hours to take like 5 units of insulin. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, it took me till I was like probably 10 years before I could give myself a shot, like consistently just do everything by myself.
Right. I'm sure like as a kid growing up, that has to be even like a more scary and experience to go through as a 3-4-year-old to inject yourself. But that's kudos to you, man. As a 10-year-old doing that, that's very like that's a strong will that you have to have.
Well, I kind of had to, because like shout out to Mrs. Goggins. She was my nurse in elementary school. She would come down to the lunchroom every single day and sit there and give me a shot every single day.
Wow.
I love her to death. She's one of my favorite people on this earth. So shout out to her. But yeah, then I went to middle school. My mom's like, all right, you gotta figure this out. Oh, I think I got a pump actually. So that's what kind of changed things. And then I learned.
Yeah, there's nothing. I'm sure. I know the pump is a great tool to use. I just never. Obviously, we're playing basketball. I just, they always try to get me to be on the pump, but there's just something, just personally, just I didn't think, just the way I move and things that I do every day. I knew I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. And it's, as it's all about how you feel as a diabetic. Like different things can make you. Make your blood sugars, go different ways. And I felt that I could figure out a way to balance my sugars, without using a pump. And, I'm doing an amazing job right now, especially changing my whole, nutrition diet and the vital minerals that I take, and my whole, plant-based diet is doing a great job with it. And, I'm taking way less, insulin than I was when I was younger, 10 years ago. So, that's a great, I'm going in the right direction, I feel.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have you probably don't have a CGM.
No, I don't. I use the one drop test. I still do the, the test, whatever, every day. I've actually, was supposed to get on a call with the CGM company in a few weeks. Just, I guess they probably wanted to send me a one of the monitors to try to test it out. Still kind of on the fence about it, whatever. But I'll probably try it. I'll see what it is.
Well, I get why people don't want to have the pump, but the CGM is a godsend because it goes straight to your phone.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think they're making a new one where you can. Well, that wouldn't. I was gonna say, the people that made my pump, they're putting on the app that you can bolus from your phone, so give yourself insulin from your phone. Wow. So I mean that just shows how far this technology and all that stuff's come. But the CGM is really good, and it's I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now, but it's on my arm, and it's yay big, not that big.
Yeah, I've seen people in the street, and what's crazy is when I see people in the street, I'm like, oh man, she's a diabetic or he's a diabetic. And I just feel so connected with them. And I usually want to go out to them, but obviously, you don't want to make people feel weird about it. One of my friends has this shirt that, diabetic, that's Rob Ho. He's Rob Howe. He's one of these guys on Instagram. He has this podcast, Diabetics Doing Things, that I was on. And I definitely want to get one of those shirts just to, I feel that just to show, support in what he's doing as well. Love that shirt. It's kind of like one of those, you see those, what is that? Off-white kind of, shirts where they have that, just off-white across the chest. It's it just says diabetic across the chest, which is really dope and cool.
The one back when this was a long time ago. I forget, maybe 2009. 2010 maybe. Me and my dad went to Five Guys. We're sitting there, my dad goes, "Well, look, that guy's a pump over there." And I turn and look, and it's a player he was on the Colts at the time, John Chick. So I went up and I got his autograph on his damn peanut or whatever. But yeah, I mean when you're little and you have diabetes, those are the people that you idolize over everybody, in my opinion. One of my favorite football players ever is Jay Cutler. And when I tell people, they're like, he sucks. And I was like, well, he's diabetic, so I'm a rock with him forever.
Jay Cutler is to play football with diabetes, or play any sport with diabetes. People don't understand the amount of, mental preparation and just physical preparation you have to do for that. Just checking your blood sugars and just that feeling, I'm sure, blood sugar being high or blood sugar being low. Those are, real challenging experiences that you have to, it's kind of like a trial and error kind of thing. You got to know, all right, this does this to me, or, yeah, man, if I do this too much, if I, exercise this amount of time, my blood sugar, will go low or go high and things like that. And, it's just a trial and error thing with every diabetic. And definitely shout out to all those people who are living with these illnesses that are, successful with it.
How many other like pro athletes do you know who are also diabetic?
It's one of my guys that's I can't think of his name, that he played at Georgetown. He had diabetes.
Austin?
Yeah, Austin, yeah. That's my guy. I know him. It's not so many people that I know, off the top of my head, but I know we're having this TBT team. I think I'm the only person on the TBT diabetic team that has diabetes, and it was kind of like weird to me. I was like, man, like there's not that many. Are there not that many basketball players with diabetes? And the person that was managing the team, I was like, no, not really, man. Like not a lot of people. I guess I feel like maybe like schools or whatever, they put this like stigma, like, yo, you can't, kind of thing. And it was crazy. One of the main reasons that kind of like inspired me to, kind of like speak out more about, being a diabetic was when I had my a softball game for my charity, the Gary Forbes Foundation. One of the parents came with their kid and they were like, yo, listen, I want to thank you so much for doing this and being a diabetic and, just being an inspiration, because one of the kids, he was in the car with his father and his classmate. And he asked his dad, like, yo, can I try out for the basketball team tomorrow? And his father was like, no, because, you're diabetic. And there's so many, problems that you'll have. And his friend was like, Gary Forbes is a diabetic and he plays in the NBA. So, why can't he? And I was like, wow, that's, that one person, got inspiration from me being, a diabetic playing basketball. And, he felt like he could too because of me. And that's, I feel like just such a powerful thing that I feel like that's why I was here, put on this earth. And, I'm a very, optimistic person with everything that I do. I've never see the glass as half empty. I always see it as a half full kind of person. So, yeah, man, I feel like this is my real purpose here on earth. My self, egoistic thing was to make the NBA, and I did that. I'm blessed, all the opportunities I have, all the people that I met that have put me in that position for that. But I feel that my real purpose here, I do get a high kind of inspiring people and making people feel good. So I'm definitely very confident, just as much as I was confident when I wrote down that I would make the NBA in second grade. I know that this book and franchise are going to do great things for some of the people.
Hey, it's easy to see why it's going to succeed. I got to shout out all my diabetic people that have come on the podcast before, so I don't forget. I don't want to leave anyone out. Eva Rubin. I mean, there's a ton. There's way more than you think, honestly. Like Eva Rubin, she played for Illinois. She just graduated.
Definitely gonna reach out to her for sure. I think I need all my diabetics on that.
Chad Muma, who I haven't had on the show, I'm trying to get on. He's going through the draft process right now. Supposed to be like a first or second round pick. He's a linebacker from Wyoming. Jordan Williams. I don't know if you know who that is. He was in the UFC.
Yep, I do. I heard
he's
it.
My first ever athlete I had on the
Wow.
pot, and I mean him and I are tight. Charles Loftus, he's the strength and conditioning coordinator and like not the team physician, but like what's it called? Like the physical therapist for the Trailblazers.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got to meet up with him when they came and played the Pacers.
That's what's up.
Ryan Smith, he's a coach at Mercer down in Georgia.
What's the guy that plays for the Baltimore Ravens? He's
Mark Andrews.
Yeah, Mark Andrews. I'm supposed to try to connect with him in the next couple of weeks or in the next month. Sent a letter to him to try to get connected with him. It's amazing player.
Yeah, that's crazy to see. Like one of the top 5 at his position in the NFL, and he's diabetic. He's out there representing us.
Right. That's crazy. So dope.
That's crazy. So all right. So let's talk about this Defeat Diabetes team and the TBT. So how'd that opportunity kind of come together?
Well, somebody just like randomly, they just, hit me up on DM and asked what I like to play. And, I really I've been working so much on this book. Obviously I stay in shape. I, work out, exercise every day. And, they asked me if I wanted to play. Like, this is a great opportunity, great, segue to, I guess, with the whole book franchise stuff coming out, and just to, show people I definitely can still play basketball. I just, decided to, it's just not, I don't think it's, financially in the best, of my, financially for me to, try to go overseas, and just like, obviously with everything going on, the whole COVID stuff. And it was just like, why don't I just take a step back and try to figure out what's next, for me. So, but, TBT, I love basketball. Obviously, I still miss, the camaraderie of playing and being in the locker room with guys. So this is a great, great segue to represent diabetics, and, just represent myself, and to show people that, I'm still here, I'm still good. And it's almost like a confidence thing for me. Like, man, I'm still in great shape, and I can play with a lot of these like younger players that are, trying to, make their career and their journey of playing basketball. And, what better way to, TBT is a great tournament, great show for these charities. And there's so many different, charities and teams and schools that are out in the TBT. And I felt like it was just a great segue for me to do that. And, hopefully we get into this, to the tournament, and, wouldn't mind winning it. Wouldn't mind winning it at all.
Damn near. What have your interactions been like with, in particular, Christina and Jalen, kind of the two leaders of the squad that put the whole thing together?
We talk like every week, or not every other week. They were asking me if I knew any players to try to like get them on the team. And so far the team is, we look pretty stacked. A lot of guys that are obviously currently still playing. I may be the only like non-active player that's on the team, and the only diabetic, which is funny. But I'm excited for when we start. I think we got a great group of guys that will make every diabetic that we're representing proud. Definitely excited to to meet everyone and meet the coaches, and just everything moving forward. And hopefully we can have this team for years to come. And definitely would like to, I'm not going out there to try to lose. So definitely try to win, and put, just obviously remove the stigma, and show people that we can do the same things.
And you've played in the TBT before, right?
Yeah, I played in it twice. Like a long time ago when it first started. So I guess this is my coming out of retirement party, like like Tom Brady.
I mean, what do you like about that setup? Because they came to Columbus last year, Purdue's team, and then Ohio State's team was there. I think Tennessee maybe. It was electric. I liked it.
No, it is. The whole Elam ending, obviously, that's just a dope. You see an all-star game kind of take from that, and even the whole, moving on, the whole March Madness, they've done, kind of like copied it a little bit with, the whole bracket kind of thing. So I think the whole the basketball tournament, TBT, people who are leading that are doing a great job with it. They're doing it for a great cause, and obviously these schools that have these great alumni programs, they're benefiting from it too, and they want to see players that they had connections with come back and play for their alma maters and things like that. So UMass doesn't have one right now, so I'm kind of glad so I can play with the TBT. But if UMass brings one up, I'll be kind of like split, torn in between the two.
Well, it's a win-win for everybody, because like you mentioned, the players themselves are getting that. I mean, you guys are on ESPN, and a lot of them are either not active anymore or playing overseas, so they don't get that love and appreciation that they deserve hooping over there. And then on top of it, like you mentioned, all these great causes that people are representing. It's perfect.
Some players have actually got signed from the TBT, like
Kiefer Sykes last year.
Yep, exactly. Look at that. Like, if it wasn't for the TBT, this tournament, that look at him having a great opportunity, and being able to be seen playing basketball on ESPN. So,
and then what does it mean to you when you put that jersey on and maybe you look out at the crowd and there's other diabetics, what is that going to mean to you?
I mean, just the name on it, like, defeat diabetes. Like it's just like an empowering kind of experience, and it is something that I definitely want to do. I do want to defeat diabetes. It's definitely, I can name so many different times where diabetes has done some things to me where it's put me or made me feel less than, or especially not being drafted. I went to the Orlando pre-draft camp. I led the whole pre-draft in scoring. I was one of the top guys, but due to the fact that I'm a diabetic and these people have to invest millions of dollars in me, it was a kind of a and I definitely understand that, because obviously it was at that time, it was a very, no one knew, like, how can a diabetic, play an 82 game season? I did that, multiple years. So I definitely want to just kind of just embark more on, like, give diabetics confidence and remove that stigma that we can't. And like, we definitely can, and we've showed it in many different areas. And like I said, just inspiring the next diabetic basketball player that's coming out there. Maybe he'll get inspiration from watching the TBT or seeing us on the on ESPN representing a good cause.
Yeah, that draft thing irks me, because there's a kid out of UCLA, really good. He's a baseball player, Garrett Mitchell. Yeah, he dropped to like the end of the first round, so he's losing out on. So they do that little slot money thing or whatever for the side. So he lost out on quite a bit of money.
What's crazy is a kid. He's a kid from high school. I think he's from California. He's going to Pepperdine. He just got a scholarship for Pepperdine. He's a diabetic. He just hit me up on Instagram the other day, and kind of to ask me. I guess he was having difficulties and just managing diabetes, and just wanted to get my insight on things, and I was so happy to that he reached out to me, because he's a very good player, and I know how that can probably affect his mental. Not everyone is has the same kind of mental insight to kind of look at things as as a good thing, or as a challenge. And I kind of tried to explain to him that I didn't let diabetes, I never used it as a crutch, but I think one of my mistakes was not being as open about it as I should have been. And during the times during the 2007, 2008, there weren't many diabetics that were out there or being spoken about. So I think that was one of my probably biggest, not necessarily regrets, but just not being more open about it, and expressing to people that I've never missed a game, never missed a practice, nothing that has hindered me from playing basketball. So I kind of wanted to give him inspiration to, man, like, there's nothing that you can't do, man. You're just he's one of the top players in the country, and I'm excited to see him at Pepperdine next year.
What kind of pride do you take in being that, like, hero or role model for some of these younger kids and other people with diabetes?
It kind of get like I said, I told you, I get a high from just being an inspiration for someone. Like I said, I'm a very optimistic person, and even when you asked me to come on the show again today, I was like, man, like, I was hype about it, just to talk about my experiences, my journey, and whoever who knows, someone listening to it may take from this and have a positive outlook on being a diabetic. And it fuels me. I feel like I said, like, I feel like that's my purpose. I've never not one time been in a mindset of regret, like, man, I wish I didn't have diabetes. I'm one of 6 kids. My father has it. His father passed away from it, but it was only passed on to me. And I feel like it was perfect that it was me, because I was put on that platform and that stage to have it. And, look what I'm doing now. So I feel like I was the perfect child to have it. Like I said, I never look at it as a bad thing. You know, my body just doesn't produce the amount, just and granted, glad we have insulin to to inject, in us. But just like I feel like just learning about health, it has also helped me too. Like it's made me research like what to do and look for different different vital minerals and things like that can help me. So it's definitely helped my education and in nutrition and things like that. So like I said, everyone is not the same. Maybe the things that work for me won't work for you, but sharing that information, I feel like will help, for people.
Yeah, no doubt. And I love that you said that you're the perfect one, because Charles Loftus, who I mentioned with the Trailblazers, he calls himself the chosen one for it. And he's every other post is just like showing his diabetes and behind the scenes stuff and all that stuff. He's a good dude. You guys will have to get in contact. But
sure.
I'm gonna have to wrap this up. But before we get off, let everyone know where they can follow you, find where the book's gonna be and all that type of stuff.
You can follow me on Instagram at Gary Forbes _. The book is called Soul Survivors. We have an Instagram page. It's called The Soul Survivors, SOLE Survivors. And I'm excited. It should be out in the next 30 to 45 days. And definitely I would love to be back on so I can get the word out there about it, man.
Hey, open invite whenever you want to come on. You just let me know.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, man. Thanks.